If you have an interest in horses and love learning more about horses, the horse industry, teaching, or even managing your own horse business, then you're in the right place. We would love you to join us on our mission, which is to improve the lives of horses around the world through the education of riders, handlers, and trainers. So get comfortable, listen in, and enjoy.
If you'd like to acquire more customers and generate more sales with less effort, then talk to Sophie Barrington at Archer Creative. She's the first and only full-service equine marketing agency in the Southern Hemisphere, serving Australian and international equine brands. Go to horsechats.com, search for Sophie, search for Barrington, or search for Archer Creative. Today's guest is coming back again, Carlos Tabernaberri. He's here. He's been here before, of course, and given us lots and lots of information. He's just very knowledgeable as a horseman, has got a great attitude. He loves that the horse can be the teacher so we can be the students. And I think, anyone that comes into the horse world with that sort of attitude, that's someone that we need to listen to, as soon as the horse, and it sort of turns it around, So when the horse is the teacher, we're the students, you think, yeah, that's probably really right too. And he also talks about we shouldn't be divided by discipline. We should be united by good horsemanship. And I think that's just a really good thing to live by as well. Anyway, Carlos, how are you today?
Good. Glenys, thank you for having me back. And It's good to talk to you and your listeners.
Good to have you here, Carlos. Now, we're going to talk a little bit. We've got a few points here to talk about. People becoming fearful is one that we'll start with. But talk to us, why would, you talk to us about horses, people being fearful, but why do people become fearful of horses? We grow up and we love horses, but when does that love turn to fear?
Yeah, it's a good point. And this is what I do, Glenys, through the lessons and the clinics. And it's very common, as you know, in the horse industry, where a lot of people, like you said, they've been around horses since they were young, and then they might have a break and come back and get into horses a bit later. Or even people that never got out of horses from childhood, and then they become a little bit fearful. And I think what I notice when I try to help people all the time is that it's usually when someone has a setback or a little accident as a result, that any interaction that you have with a horse after that becomes a fearful experience, and rather than focusing on what you are doing, you pay more attention to, the what if, which is what I talked in my book as well. So what if this happens again? What if I do this and the horse does that? And we become almost like we try to have a crystal ball and trying to see what's going to happen in the future. But to me, I've been talking to my students and people at clinics, and I think, it's personal for all of us, but I think that the reason that we become fearful, I think, is not so much the fear of having that accident again or a setback, but it's the fear of failing. And I think that comes through the amount of pressure that people are put on. I mean, if someone asks someone, what are you doing with your horse? And someone says, I'm just enjoying my horse and enjoying the relationship with my horse, it's almost like they feel they're not doing enough, which is totally wrong. And that's why I say, like you mentioned, you shouldn't be separated through discipline at all, or what do you do with your horse. So I think it's more the fear of failing again rather than getting hurt again. So I think that's why people become fearful.
All right. How can we work then, if it's not love, it's trust, so how can we work from trust?
Well, this is say, you either work from love and trust or fear and doubt, and if you work from a place of love and trust, it won't keep you trapped. You love the horse and you love what you do, who you are at that particular time with the horse. So the trust doesn't mean, that you have blind trust, I call it, when people say, oh, I'll trust my horse, even though the horse might be giving you all the wrong signs, but for the horse, it's all the right signs. But so trust means to me, sort of trust yourself, to be able to trust the horse and trust your skills, that you have, and trust the support that you might have, around yourself, in order to make progress. Because if you work from fear and doubt, then, like I said, it's going to keep you way below your comfort zone, and you're never going to be able to make any progress, in your relationship with the horse. I think it's a change of mindset rather than, it's a change of mindset.
What happens then if we find that, we know that we're working for fear or doubt? We know that we're working from that basis. We know it's mindset. We know that, things just aren't going well. What can we do if we find that we are working from that fear and doubt and we want to get the trust with the horse, but we can't? What can we do to start to get the trust?
I think, what I advise people is always, you go back to your foundations, you go back to working on the ground with the horse.
Yep.
In order to build your confidence, you're in a much safer place where you're on the ground. But the most important thing, I guess, is, you have to trust the person that you seek to help you out, and that person understands your individual need and individual need of a horse. Because I always said, every horse that I work with, is an individual, and every person that I work with is an individual. So you can't sort of have a program that runs for everyone equally, So I think in order to start working from the love and trust, I said you start on the ground, go back to your foundations, and then just build yourself up again, rather than working from that fear and doubt and do it anyway. I know there's people say, well, if you're fearful, just do it anyway. But that, to me, that's a kind of bit of a blind way of, and helping yourself and helping your horse in the future.
Yeah. So just to do with the foundation, so say you're out there, and I know you do quite a lot of clinics and help a lot of people. If you've got someone that you're working with and you can see that they're fearful, distrustful of the horse, what sort of exercises can you do to just get that balance changed, just to change it a little bit? What would you do to help someone in that situation?
Well, I'm a very kind of hands-on person, so if, I'm always watching everybody. So if I see someone that is, lagging behind through fear, or the horse could be, so I just go and usually ask him. I say, look, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, how we come back through the groundwork, get the horses to understanding, getting the horse to go in follow mode, not that, so the horse follows you. It's based on lightness and the softness that I like to bring to clinics and lessons as well. And then make sure that they can do it in a way. I don't have to try to convince him, but I just let him know that I said to him, you can do it. I'm going to do it, but you can do what I do. The only difference is I have more experience. That's all. So it's not that, it's not that they will never be able to do it, because a lot of people will come back and say, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. So it's changing I think it's changing the vocabulary a little bit. But I think whenever we're going to encourage somebody or encourage a horse, you have to be prepared to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And that's why I'm pretty hands-on. But I think just, if people are familiar with the groundwork that I do, is once again, the best way that I can describe it is putting the horse on follow mode, so you don't have the fear again. So you're not actually just getting on a horse and going, well, I'm hoping that the horse does all the right things. So it's going back to your groundwork exercises. And I know there's different styles and different methods, but it's about doing it in a gentle way where you're assertive, you're not aggressive, you're not passive. And that's what's going to create the confidence on the horse in you and you on the horse again,
Yeah. But I think that whole hands-on approach is good, probably in two ways. One is, that people can see, because some people are quite visual and they want to be able to see exactly what you're doing. But the other thing is too, that sometimes the horse doesn't quite understand. And if you can get in there with that hands-on approach and people can see you doing it, that gives them a better idea of how to communicate with the horse. So, I know you're popular, but I think that's one of the reasons that you are so popular, is because you've got that whole hands-on approach. I know that one of your other things that you say is failure is not fatal. So it's very easy to say, but just explain that whole saying a little bit more about failure is not fatal.
Yeah, well, what I mean by that is, is that failure is not fatal in the sense when I talk to people and I say, if you never want to try again, if you try something and and I don't like the word failure. I think it's, you try and it didn't work out would be a better word, but if you use the word failure as an example, when people say I failed or you failed, or someone points a finger at you, but I think the success of failure becomes when you don't try it again, so I think to me success is, like I said, trying and not giving up. So
Yep.
A failure is not fatal. It's not the end of the world. So the only time failure would be fatal is if you just, say you leave the horse in the paddock and you never want to see the horse again, or you sell the horse and you say, well, I'm not good enough for this, so I'm just going to get rid of my horse or look for another horse. And the cycle, sort of becomes a vicious cycle. So I think by me saying failure is not fatal, I'm saying it's not the end of the world. When you fail, part of learning is that you try again, and a lot of people that have become pretty successful even outside horses, people that fail many times.
Yep.
They didn't give up, through history. There's probably thousands of examples. So it's not the end of the world. When things don't work out, that's what I try to say by failure is not fatal. So,
So with the failure, then we can improve. Is that right? We can improve on that.
Yeah. I think so. And I think no one, Glenys, goes out there trying to fail or not to do good. So I think everyone knows what they know at a given time. And I find that through lessons in clinics when people say, well, I'm not good at this, or I was told that I wasn't good enough. I mean, that's nobody's better than anyone else. The thing is that it's experience. And once again, everyone does what they know. And our job as an educator would be to make sure that people know a little bit better so they are successful. But like I said, failing is not the end of the world. It's not fatal. You just got to develop your skills and seek the right advice.
Yep. Okay. So really you're talking about failure. It's like you said before, failure is things go wrong, but if you keep improving, that's good. That's just part of learning. But failure is quitting, like you said before about you just put the horse away and put it in the paddock and never see it again. That would be what failure is. Is that right? Just completely quitting?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're gonna, that's a pretty successful outcome. So if you said I don't want to do this again, I don't try anymore, or you surround yourself with the wrong people that might be telling you to, oh well, you're not good at it or whatever. Well, then that's a guaranteed failure. So I think you just failure is just giving up. That's the way I look at it. And I think that trying and things not working out is not fatal, and therefore I don't think you're failing. I think you're giving it. You haven't tried. You have a try in you, which is going to get you to where you want to go. It doesn't matter if it takes someone 12 months and it might take you 3 years.
Yep.
The main thing is, you got to become the best. Not the best somebody else. That's what I tell people.
Okay. Yep. So what we need to do is just try. But what about horses? Horses too. If we talk about horses just giving a try, tell us about trying.
Well, if you look at horses, if you look at, we all make mistakes with them, and you see, some way horses have been worked and ridden, and they're such a forgiving creature. They always are fun. Even when they're afraid, they put themselves back again to do it all over again. I could tell you 5 more times. I would tell you lots of stories that I come across, where horses, they're ridden or been treated pretty poorly, and then these poor horses put themselves all over again to try again. So I find horses have huge try. It's just that sometimes they stop trying because we're not looking at it from like I say, not through the eyes of the horse, So we can learn a lot from the horses. Like I said, the master teachers, they've been my teachers.
Yep.
And I think I've got a lot of try things to the horses because I see how much try they have, even when they not getting it, or even when things are not working out, how they would try it again to try to understand what you want, So we can learn from them.
Yeah. What if the horse does try, but it gives us the wrong answer, so they fail momentarily?
Well, if that happens, I always look at myself and I make sure and I say, did I give the horse the right, did I ask the right question? So a lot of times we want an answer from the horse, but we don't know what questions we're asking the horse. So if we 100% sure that we're asking the right question and we expect the right answer and the horse doesn't do it, once again, it's not the end of the world, and we got to ask again and again. I don't believe in the you ask the horse, you tell, you demand from the horse, I think you ask and you ask and you ask with patience until the horse gives you the answer that you were looking for. A lot of times we ask the horse the questions through an exercise or a request on the saddle. The horse might give the wrong answer, the wrong interpretation of it. And then what I call these people yell at the horse by giving a harder cue or a pull on the rope or a shake of the lead. And then I always tell people, if I say if I ask you something in Spanish and you didn't understand, yelling the question wouldn't make you understand any better. So I might have to look at the individuality of the horse again and explain it, with a little bit more time or with a lot more patience.
Okay, so failing to try. I've got a note about failing to try and succeeding.
Failing to try and succeeding, it's like, I think, again, if you are afraid to fail, you will never be able to improve your horsemanship.
Yes.
Or simply do better. So you become guarded in all the interactions you will have with the horse, and I think limits both you and the horse to reach your full potential. So So I said, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. It's just otherwise you'll never improve your horsemanship.
Yep. And the further training to success.
Further training to success.
Yeah.
You have to, once again, you have to seek. Unfortunately, it's one of the things, many things that I know you can watch videos and you can sort of read, but that will not give you the experience. That'll give you some knowledge. So that's what I'm so big on the hands-on. And even on this Saturday, someone was riding a horse at a clinic or a lesson, and I feel that the horse of the person is struggling. I'm not afraid to say to them, just step off the horse for a little bit. Let me get on the horse. I want to find out whether it's the horse or is it you, how you're communicating, and then get them back on and say, well, see, I just did that and I want you to do the same thing so you both communicate better.
Yep.
But I think education, it's that hands-on is so important versus, there's a lot of knowledge, I say, with a lot of reading and, with the internet and all these things, there's a lot of people with videos but nothing beats the actual hands-on to get that experience. You can't actually buy experience. So you can probably just buy a bit of knowledge.
Yeah. Now, I've got a question for you, and this is, it's a listener's question, but for our listeners, what can we do to spread the message of ethical and kind horsemanship? You're out there promoting it and doing it, but what can we do to help you spread that message?
This is an excellent question too, and I always say to people, there's a lot of people out there that are prepared to, I suppose, to disagree with what you do. I made a promise to the horse, when I was a young kid, and I said I didn't follow traditions, as you know, and I made sure that the horse will have a better say. I think there's a misconception thinking that if you're kind to the horse and you look after the welfare of the horse, that you're not going to be effective. Is couldn't be further from the truth. So I'm really grateful to people like your listeners and people that follow me on Facebook or sign up to my online membership, which I just started. And these people are spreading the message, and I think they just I can't do it on my own. I always said I can't spread the message on my own, and I think the best way for us to stand up for the welfare of the horse is not to be afraid to pretty much think what other people think. There's always going to be plenty of those. So, you just stand up and be true to yourself, be true to the horse, and don't be afraid. I guess the consequences of saying, well, we should be treating the horses in a more ethical way. And for me, I get to spread that. That's my sole goal, is to do that through my lessons and my clinics in particular. And now getting a bit of exposure on TV, to do that. So.
Yes. Tell us about the TV show, the horsemanship segment.
Yeah, the TV show, I've been approached by Channel 7 too, which is on Channel 7, and they've got a garden show called Vasili's Garden. And that show now has, they asked me to come in the show as one of the presenters and presents a horsemanship segment, which is more about gardening and environment. And they like what I do, and they say, it would be excellent for you to showcase a bit of your horsemanship and the ethical and the welfare of the horse through the program, where and it happens to be the only horsemanship segment in Australian TV, which is I'm sort of pretty grateful and proud of that. Besides is the racing industry, which is all that is on TV. So it gives me an opportunity through TV to reach out more people around the country and send that message that we just discussed about me being ethical and the welfare of the horse. Because that's at the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to do. This is not for me, Glenys, it's for the horse.
Yes. I think that sort of underpins our message. We're worried about the welfare of the horse, safety around horses, but I think you'll agree that a well-trained horse is a safe horse.
100%. That's what I always say. My mum is not a horse rider, and I always say, if I've got horses that I just started in training here, and I said, if a horse cannot be ridden by my mum, that she doesn't know how to ride, then I haven't finished my job with that horse. Safety is number one. It's not about how you jump or what level of research you're doing or trail riding that you do. It is about having a safe horse that understands your request, and that you have an amazing relationship with that horse. And it can only come through that trust and understanding,
Yes, yep. Carlos, how can people contact you? I know you've got a website or, Whispering Acres, but the best way they can contact you also through horsechats.com. Search Carlos, search for Tabernaberri or...
Tabernaberri. Difficult. I mean, the easiest way is to go to probably to go to whisperingacres.com.
Yep.
And also to Carlos Tabernaberri Horsemanship, so they can message me through there. So the page is Carlos Tabernaberri Horsemanship, but if they go to whisperingacres.com and you can't remember how to spell my surname, it might be easier to go to whisperingacres.com. And like I said, I just also started doing current training videos online. So there's a membership online which have monthly videos added every month in different sort of sections, from problem solving to groundwork to reading to classical in hand, and we don't even do words as well.
Perfect. All right, Carlos, wonderful talking to you again, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon. It's been wonderful.
I hope so. Anytime, and thank you for having me in the show. And I wish all your listeners all the best and all the success possible.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Glenn.
Remember that our comments and instructions are general in nature and do not take into consideration your individual horses or your individual ability and circumstances. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please leave your comment below.